They were once the backbone of America's forest protection system. Following the big blow-up of 1910, the most devastating wildfire in U.S. history, over 8,000 fire lookouts were built across the country. 3,000 towers dotted mountaintops in the Northwest alone.
The early years of the Forest Service saw the need to put somebody out on the mountaintops for early fire detection. They also were the ones that were going to run to the fire when they spotted one.
In time, these lighthouses of the forest would become a symbol of fire protection around the world. Today, fire towers and the smoke chasers who bravely kept watch share a proud history. A history that's celebrated in a wonderful 1-acre backyard.
This cab used to sit on top of a 100-foot tower. Now it's in our yard.
A retired firefighter from Spokane, Washington, Ray Kresek is curator of the Fire Lookout Museum. Since the museum opened in 1990, Ray has been on the lookout for visitors that share his fascination of fire towers.
My passion for fire lookouts began when I was a little kid. When I was 16, I was a fire lookout for a summer, and 35 years later, I retired from the fire department and went back up on a lookout for a summer.
With over 19,000 fire-related relics, the museum is dedicated to the watchers in the woods. Squirreled away, just north of downtown Spokane, the museum caught fire, so to speak, following the release of the definitive book on Northwest lookouts.
I wrote a book on fire lookouts. It's called Fire Lookouts of the Northwest. It features all the lookouts of the Northwest. A lot of stories, a lot of pictures, and there were some unique lookout designs and some rather unique stories by lookouts in the early years. And the success of that has led to the creation of our Fire Lookout Museum. My book was published in 1984, and that summer we started collecting a lot of artifacts. We incorporated as a nonprofit museum with the state of Washington, and that opened the doors to numerous contributions in the way of artifacts. We operate on no budget, but the sale of the book supports the upkeep of the museum. At the Fire Lookout Museum, we have an actual fire tower in our yard and another treetop replica that we built to represent the earliest lookouts. There is another lookout tower in the museum system. It's located 12 miles from here, and it's a working lookout. We have a fire truck. We have a working weather station and all the vintage equipment of the wildland fire world. My wife Rita is behind all this. She supports me in what I do, and what she says goes. So when it comes time to mowing the lawn, if she wants the lawnmower, I'll give it to her. She does most of the fine-tune weeding and the upkeep of the yard. We both love that part of it together. It's a lot of work keeping up a yard like this. It's an acre, and we enjoy doing it.
The museum is open March through November. While admission is free, you still have to pay the Kreseks a call.
This was communications back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. The museum is in our yard and in our home. So whenever we're home, we like somebody to call us for an appointment so that we can be sure and be here. It's open anytime we're home, by appointment only. That's how that works. I feel this one now. We get visitors of all ages. We enjoy having youth groups, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, any group that finds fire lookouts of interest.
Lots of people live between here and here.
I think the greatest satisfaction that Rita and I have of running this museum is the fact that people come from all over the world to visit us. When people leave here, we hope that they'll bring with them a little better knowledge about fire prevention and maybe learn a little bit about what tree they're looking at when they're out in the woods. We have all 38 different varieties of conifer trees here that grow in the Northwest.
Hello, folks.
The Smokey Bear program is one of the most successful advertising campaigns ever launched in America, and it went for over 50 years. We probably have the most different items of any Smokey Bear collection. couple thousand to be exact. Here in the museum we have a Smokey Bear costume that was among the very first. It was created in 1952 for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
And speaking of Smokey, in the world of wildfire prevention, there is no greater honor than to receive a National Smokey Bear Award. For his 61 years of outstanding achievement in wildfire protection, Ray received a silver Smokey Bear statue in 2011.
When I received it, you could have knocked me over with a feather because it's a statue comparable to the Oscar to anyone that is in the fire prevention business. For me to receive the Smokey Bear Award, I'm very humbled. It's an honor that I never dreamed that I was ever worthy of. And it's been the museum that has allowed that to happen.
Although some towers are still active and efforts exist to save others, most fire lookouts are gone. But in the big backyard of Ray and Rita Kresek, the legacy of the Silent Sentinel lives on at the very cool Fire Lookout Museum.
Those trees aren't a whole lot older than you are. The history of fire lookouts and Smokey Bear and all the other wildland fire history needs to be preserved. And we're in a position where we can do that here. It's more of a hobby than anything for us to keep the museum alive.
If you have an idea for Northwest Profiles, send it to KSPS TV, 3911 South Regal, Spokane, Washington 99223. Northwest Profiles is a presentation of KSPS Public Television.